Daisy is still here, and I know that she's your favorite because I see all the comments. So that's okay.
No way, man.
This was the coolest thing. My kid, our kid next door, who I adore, he's 17 years old, and he went out yesterday. I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm voting." And I went, "Well, kitten, you're..." And this is how stupid I am. I had not realized this. The Utah legislature passed a new law in April that if you're eligible, you're a 17-year-old who's done all the basics, and you'll be 18 by November, you're allowed to vote in the primary elections. And so this is really cool because, like, Steve he's starting his senior year at East High this year, but he's 17 and he'll be 18, I think, in October. So he's like, I get to go vote.
How do you feel about that?
In light of everything recent, with everything we've seen with school shootings, I figure if you're target practice, you should have the right to vote. Yeah. Is that harshly said? It's probably harshly said, isn't it?
No, I totally agree with that. I totally agree.
Because, I mean, we've seen huge activism on either side. It's not necessarily liberal or conservative. We've seen really big activism on both sides. And this is the first time I've actually seen high school students, be galvanized in this kind of way.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Well, and also, when I think back to myself at 17, I would have said that I would be ready to vote at that age. You know, I felt pretty... by 17, you're educated, you're fairly sure of your beliefs.
And if you're actually going to take the time and the effort to vote,
then
to do everything at 17,
more power to you, right?
You're motivated.
Yeah.
You've been educated a little bit. You kind of know what you're doing.
Yeah.
This isn't like your folks going, this is like mowing the lawn, go do it. This is a thing,
right? Yeah, no, I'd say I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
There was one that I loved. She was 17. I saw her on the news, Saida Dara. She's... when she was 3, her family had fled from a refugee camp in Kenya after the civil war in Somalia.
Oh, wow.
And they ended up here. And I've known a lot of Somalian refugees because they actually went to school with my boys. And I was so in love with them. But these kids were all like, they survived unimaginable things, and they were so ready to integrate, and they're like, I'm ready, tell me everything, who's SpongeBob, you know what I mean? They were so into it. And so for her, she said, this is like a dream come true, this is everything I was waiting for.
That's amazing.
So I thought that was sweet.
Yeah, that's so cool.
All right, we should probably go to Daisy. She's in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom here, actually, on the Todd and Erin set. Yeah, she's brought to you by Fink & McGregor. Mortgage is made simple. Just go to fink-mcgregor.com. Tell them that Todd and Erin sent you. Also by Brio Technologies. They are your experts in lighting, sound, and video. I actually went into my dentist's office today, and they just got a brand new media wall in every one of their examining rooms from Brio Technologies. And may I say, it made my tooth cleaning epic. Thank you. BrioAudiovisual.com. And by the new Millennium Financial Group. Look, if you don't make money and get your retirement set when the economy is great like this, it's not going to happen any other time. Go to utahsfinancialplanner.com. Daisy, my dear, what is going on today?
Thanks, Erin. Hello, everyone. Here's what's making news on Wednesday, June 27th on GephartDaily.com. Police have identified the victims and the suspect in a West Valley City double murder. The victims are Chastity Gerber, 37, and Martin Barron, 33. The suspected shooter has been identified as Kennedy Lund, 23. The incident began about 7:15 p.m. in the area of 1431 West, 3350 South, where a nude gunman, later identified as Lund, shot and killed Gerber and Barron in the backyard of a nearby home. Lund was tracked to a second residence at 1432 West, 3300 South, where he was taken into custody after a brief standoff with police. A woman is in extremely critical condition, and a man received minor injuries after an explosion at a Mill Creek home that was allegedly being used as a THC extraction lab. Unified Police Department officials said the explosion occurred at approximately 2 p.m. in the area of 3329 South Scott Court. A 33-year-old woman was transported by ground ambulance to an area hospital, and a 30-year-old man had minor injuries and didn't need to be transported. It's not clear what charges the inhabitants of the home might be facing. And bystanders became heroes in Sandy on Tuesday afternoon after a car struck a bicyclist, leaving the rider critically injured and pinned beneath the vehicle in the twisted wreckage of his bike. A witness said he was driving in the area near 1300 East and Sago Lily Drive in Sandy when he saw the man on his bicycle. As I was getting ready to turn, the guy was gone and a ton of people were jumping out of their cars and everybody went to the side of the car, the witness told Gephardt Daily. And as soon as they started lifting, that's when I ran up and grabbed the guy by the shoulders and I pulled him out. He then took his belt and used it as a tourniquet to stop the heavy blood flow from the man's leg. While they waited, the witness said many of the 10 to 13 people who helped raise the car stood around the 54-year-old victim to provide shade. And time now for a look at the Wasatch Front weather, brought to you by Brio Technologies, Utah's #1 audiovisual specialists, and by Magic Wash, home of the high-tech, long-lasting ceramic car wash with outlets in South Ogden and Layton. Today is set to be the hottest day of the year so far, with temps in the triple digits. Thursday then drops a few degrees, and Friday and Saturday you might even need a light jacket as temps dip to the frigid low 80s. That's it for now. For more news and weather 24/7, go to GephartDaily.com.
That is an amazing story about lifting the car.
I know.
And then, but the sweetness of standing around so you can do shade.
That's why I left that bit in, because I was like, that's so sweet, you know.
It is. It's that extra step of I will drop everything I'm doing right now because this man needs every bit of help.
And I also think, you know, often you hear about when, you know, an accident happens and, you know, you hear those sad stories about, you know, someone being passed out in the, you know, on a pavement and people just, you know, walking around and stuff. So when actually, you know, bystanders come together in a situation like that, you know, it's just really heartening, isn't it? And everyone does,
it's
you know,
incredibly
what
inspiring.
they can.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
I think we see that more in Utah than not, which has always made me really happy, that people are more willing to drop anything else. I can do this. That's okay. I'm here.
Yeah.
I've always loved.
And I was actually, funnily enough, going to say that when you were talking about refugees as well, is that I feel like people here are really generally very like open and accepting, you know, of like, you know, a lot of people have those signs in their yards saying like, you know, that you know, they you know, welcome, you know, refugees are welcome to the state and that kind of thing. And that's, you know, that's really cool that people are like that.
No, I think it's wonderful. It's funny. We're not LDS, but our bishop, who lives across the street from us, still relentlessly sends over missionaries like every 6 months because he knows that I'll feed them because it'll be like 90 degrees and I'm like, come in, I'll get you some popsicles. Yeah. But we were talking about that because he was fascinating. He and his family had actually started in New York City a Jewish persuasion, and he had learned all about the persecution of the Jewish faith and World War II and the horrors of the concentration camps. So he knew about refugees and coming here to America to escape that. And then they had converted and they came to Utah, and this is when he started learning about essentially how the LDS came here as refugees to escape religious persecution from the East. And he said it's just this funny cyclic thing now that a lot of the church members in my ward volunteer down at one of the foreign language, I think it's the Somali speaking ward, you know, to help out and be supportive. And he says it's like seeing the third cycle of that in his lifetime, and he's like, it's just amazing to see. But I think people do understand it for that reason.
Well, and if you imagine if that was you and you know, you were a refugee in another country, how amazing and important it would be to have that kind of welcome, you know, from people who lived in that place, you know. It's a big deal, you know.
Okay, now we're both getting vocal. Yeah. That's great. All right. I'm going to calm down and tell you about money because, well, that's also makes you anxious and verklempt. And it doesn't have to. New Millennium Financial Group. Now, when you talk about financial advisors, 90% of the people I know say, I can't possibly afford one. That's for rich people, and I'll, like, read some stuff and figure it out. No. I don't care what you're starting with. You can be a millennial. You can be getting close to retirement. It doesn't matter what you're making. Going to a good financial advisor is everything. It changes everything because you probably don't even know the right questions to ask yourself. Well, here's the deal. New Millennium Group, they do advise everyone from multimillionaires to people who make a very small income. And they know the right questions to ask you to find out what your goals are and make sure that you can help you meet them. So if you go to utahsfinancialplanner.com, it's a great place to get started. Don't be shy. This is your time. It's a good economy. We should take advantage of it. All right, are you ready for a really good Tell Me Something Good?
Yes.
Because yours was, I don't know if I can top yours, because that was a pretty good one in news. It was.
I've seen this one, though, and this just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Tammy Waddell passed away earlier this month, only 58 years old. It was from a prolonged illness at Northside Hospital in Georgia. So, but before she died, they asked, do you have a wish? And Tammy said, I absolutely do. I would like you, instead of sending flowers to my funeral, I would like you to bring backpacks filled with school supplies. She worked as a paraprofessional and a teacher in several schools in Forsyth County School District. She was even recognized as Teacher of the Year. But she said the single biggest thing that she'd found is that as the economy had faltered for so many years, there was so little left for the kids who needed help. And if you take a look at this picture, you can see the backpacks lined all up and down the sides of the pews.
And at the front as well.
Tons in the front.
Yeah.
And it was so absolutely beautiful. So I guess it was her cousin, Dr. Brad Johnson, who posted the photo. And he said, my cousin, who's a teacher, wanted backpacks with supplies brought to her funeral instead of flowers. He said, serving others to the end.
Amazing.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh my gosh, yes.
All right. Yeah, I'm
so touching.
Tammy, I'm pretty sure you already knew you were going to heaven, but this would be the thing that would tip you over just in case, there were any questions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so sweet.
All right, so we have 2 more days before we pick somebody else for Christopher's, and of course this is Christopher's Prime Steakhouse, which was voted the #1 steakhouse in Utah. Congratulations, thank you very much. And we want to send you in 3 of your favorite people. So it's very simple, easiest way to win, and it doesn't matter when you're watching this. This can be like next year, I don't care, because we do this every week. Just share the show. Share the show. That's all you have to do. It could be on the Gephardt Daily Facebook page, Gephardt Approved, or on the Todd and Erin page. Share. You're automatically entered, and we will pick somebody who shared this week, and you're on your way to Christopher's.
Lucky you.
Just that simple. We haven't had dinner there yet, have we?
No, and I don't really like steak, so I say lucky you, but...
Lobster corn dogs.
Oh.
Lobster
Oh,
corn
I'm
dogs.
so there. That sounds amazing.
Is like, I whimpered out loud, and it was humiliating
Okay,
because people heard me from the other table.
Here's my question, though, about lobster corn dogs in a restaurant like Christopher's, right?
Yes.
Well, so Christopher's is a nice restaurant.
Spectacular.
Would you then attempt to eat your corn dog with a knife and fork?
You
or
do.
do you just, pick it up and gnaw it?
You think you would, but you do use a knife and fork.
Does it have a stick coming out of it, though, or not?
Yes, it can.
Oh, gosh.
There's
that's
many
so
choices.
Intricate.
Many choices, it's true.
I just want to pick it up. But then I wouldn't, because you'd want to be polite.
You know what? You could totally do it. No one would fault you for picking up something on a stick. I mean,
yeah,
really,
if it
right?
has a stick, what are you supposed to do with it?
Seems like it's a given to me. Yeah. All right, so just share the show. You're automatically entered. When we come up next, this is the coolest story. Everyone's been battling with type 1 diabetes, especially because they see it so often in children now. Mm-hmm. There's a new study that shows they can almost completely reverse it now.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? I'll tell you next.
We're brought to you by Fink & McGregor. Mortgages made simple. Just head to fink-mcgregor.com. Take 4 minutes to answer some questions, and you'll get a great idea about mortgages that you're eligible for. And by StayFit Wellness Clinic. Go get a personalized health analysis. This is the time to get back in shape. Feel better, feel younger, and without a ton of new medications at StayFitWellnessClinic.com.
Stream. Todd is not well today, so he is lounging in bed at home. No, actually knowing him, he's up and doing something and overexerting. But so instead, Daisy was very gracious and came in to be, adorable. So that was good. This study was amazing, and I just saw this. They have a groundbreaking new study that shows it's a really?
Oh, that word?
Tuberculosis vaccine. Now, you know how cool it is that a lot of times when they're doing research on one medical condition or one drug or vaccine, that they'll find out it spreads to other ones as well? Well, this is what happened with the tuberculosis vaccine.
There you go. Perfect. Flawless.
And according to the research, it's from Massachusetts General Hospital. They'd been using the BCG vaccine against tuberculosis for almost a century. This isn't a new thing. But what they found out is after giving the shot to a type 1 diabetes patient, followed by a booster's shot 4 weeks later, the patient's blood sugar levels returned to near normal, and their blood sugar continued to remain normal for the following 5 years. As a matter of fact, of the 500 adults involved in the study who had all had the long-standing type 1 diabetes, every single one of them had blood that returned to the regular levels.
That's amazing.
Isn't that the most incredible thing? It's weird. They were trying to investigate the administration of the vaccine. Why did it work this way? And apparently there's a mechanism they'd never seen in humans in response to the treatment with any drug. It's a shifting of the process of glucose metabolism from oxidative phosphorylation to the most common path, which is the common pathway where cells convert glucose into energy. And instead, it would change it to aerobic glycosis, which is the process that involves significantly greater glucose consumption by the cells. So basically, the body actually changed the process with which it handled the glucose in response to the vaccine.
That's crazy.
Isn't that the coolest thing
amazing.
Ever? So that's
I
mean, imagine how many lives that can save.
Oh my gosh.
And quality of life and how you live. That was so cool.
Yeah, that's incredible.
All right, coming up next, Stacey's back in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom, and Heather Locklear. Do you remember Heather Locklear?
Oh, yes, because I was a huge... we had Dynasty in England. And
Dynasty.
I loved...
Dynasty.
I loved Heather Locklear. She was...
and she was married to Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi.
And she was in Melrose Place, too, wasn't she?
Well, she's nuts. Yeah. We'll tell you about it next.
We're brought to you by Stay Fit Wellness Clinic. If you're tired of feeling sick and tired, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Bowden for a new holistic health plan to make you feel better, lose weight, sleep well at stayfitwellnessclinic.com. And by Magic Wash with 2 locations in South Ogden and Layton. Come in for the ceramic car wash that keeps your car cleaner longer by sheeting all the dirt and the water off your nice shiny finish.
Todd and Erin daily stream here on GephartDaily.com. Todd is out sick today, but we've, of course, brought to you by Connect Heating and Air for Hollywood Connection. This is the perfect time to get your air conditioner tuned up. It's only a $39 special. Just go to UtahHeatingandCooling.com. Yeah, I know. I loved Heather Locklear. Dynasty, she was always the cute one, and she was in, was it T.J. Hooker? There was one that...
yes, I think,
with Captain Kirk, whose name I know as well as my own, that is William Shatner. And she was all perky, and she wore the blue suit, and she was really cute. I guess things changed when she divorced Richie Sambora, because she has been arrested 3 different times now, but apparently she was arrested again on Sunday, 2 misdemeanor counts of battery on emergency personnel, and this is 2 months after she pleaded not guilty on battery of a police officer in a separate incident. That makes me so sad.
Oh, that's so sad.
I mean, for anyone who enjoys watching the downfall of someone else, I hope even you think this is the saddest thing ever. But apparently, so the first thing is they received, after she was released on bail from the latest altercation, she went home, and then sheriff's deputies had to respond to 2 separate calls the next day, which was Sunday. First was around 6 p.m., and it was for a disturbance, but they came, they said, okay, there was a disturbance, no crime committed, we're leaving. But then the second time was 11 p.m. This was a domestic disturbance, extremely intoxicated, very uncooperative, and then apparently had to be taken to the hospital for severe alcohol blood poisoning. So,
oh gosh!
I know, that makes me so sad.
Oh gosh!
So maybe this is because it sucks, but this is like the 4th time. So maybe this is the time where she goes, this sucks enough.
Yeah, hopefully, because her daughter is...
she's got a little girl.
I think, teenage Ava.
Ava, that's right. All right, well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, because that makes me very sad.
Yeah.
All righty, for you, it is time. Daisy, of course, is in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom, which is technically just the Todd and Erin set, but she's brought to you by New Millennium Financial Group. This is the time, my friends. Go to utahsfinancialplanner.com to get started. Also by the Stay Fit Wellness Group. If you go to stayfitwellnessclinic.com, you can learn so much more about getting rid of chronic miseries like chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia. And also by Fink and McGregor Mortgages Made Simple. My dear friend Jeff Stout, tell him Todd and Erin said hi. He can help you by going to fink-mcgregor.com. All kinds of different mortgage options within 4 minutes, and someone calls you back the next business day. Daisy, my dear, what is going on today?
Thanks, Erin. Here's what's making news in the U.S. and around the world on Wednesday, June 27th on GephartDaily.com. At least 1 person died and 12 more were injured in an explosion at a hospital in Texas on Tuesday. Officials said the explosion took place about 2 p.m. and all of the victims were construction workers at the site of a project at Coryell Memorial Hospital in Gatesville. Officials said people were burned and injured workers were transported to area hospitals after the blast. Officials believe the explosion was caused by a construction accident and foul play isn't suspected. A group of 18 attorneys general sued President Donald Trump's administration Tuesday over separation of migrant families at the border. The lawsuit argues the Trump administration's zero-tolerance immigration policy is illegally inflicting trauma on children by prosecuting more people who attempt to cross the border illegally and separating them from their children. Border officials are unlawfully turning away those families on the pretext that the United States is full or no longer accepting asylum seekers. This unlawful practice exacerbates the trauma already suffered by refugee families while simultaneously artificially increasing illegal entry violations, officials said. Utah did not join the lawsuit. And 2 Toronto police officers are facing criminal charges after they allegedly ate cannabis-infused chocolate they seized as evidence from a dispensary raid and then had to call for backup for help when the drug kicked in. According to police documents released this week, the 2 cops executed a search warrant at Community Cannabis Clinic, a marijuana dispensary in Toronto, on January 27th. One of the pieces of evidence seized during the operation was a chocolate hazelnut bar infused with cannabis oil, and the 2 men allegedly ate the candy bar later that night while working on surveillance duty. About 2 hours after eating the candy, both men couldn't handle the high, documents show, and used the police radio to call in a 1033, which indicates a police officer in serious danger. And time now for a look at the Wasatch Front weather, brought to you by Brio Technologies, Utah's #1 audiovisual specialists, and by Magic Wash, home of the high-tech, long-lasting ceramic car wash with outlets in South Ogden and Layton. Well, today's going to be the hottest day of the year so far, with temperatures in the triple digits, but St. George, meanwhile, is set to hit 107 degrees. Thursday then drops a few degrees, and Friday and Saturday is going to be in the low 80s. For more news 24/7, check out GephartDaily.com. And Erin and Daisy, back to you.
I am so sorry for laughing during the police story, but it's like, really?
Isn't that the best?
I need help.
I love it.
So maybe that's why they rated it, that maybe it was more intense than it was supposed to be.
And also, guys, if you don't know how strong it is, don't eat the whole bar.
And yeah, maybe especially because you're on duty.
On duty.
And, oh, yeah, and it's evidence. All those things seem like bad choices.
All the things.
Poor life choices, really. I don't know if you had ever heard this original story, but Terry Crews had actually testified when the Me Too movement first started about sexual harassment in Hollywood. And he's the gigantic, massive African-American gentleman who was an NFL player.
Yeah.
He's an actor, activist. He's adorable. And he was at a big Hollywood party with his wife. And this producer came up and physically groped him at the party. I mean, like assaulted him. And he is one of the few men who has been courageous enough to stand up and say, this happened to me, and I'm a gigantic, strong guy, and I was sexually assaulted.
Male producer or female?
Male. Yeah.
Oh.
So, male or female, it's sexual assault, but it was just, it was incredibly courageous. So he actually testified yesterday at the Senate Judiciary Committee. This was a hearing on the implementation of the Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights Act. And you just have to hear some of this because this is really powerful stuff. It's really emotional. If you want to play that, Mike.
Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Feinstein, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for inviting me to testify on the Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights today. My name is Terry Crews. I am an actor, author, former athlete, advocate, and a survivor of a sexual assault. This past year, we have seen powerful men in Hollywood and elsewhere finally held accountable for sexual harassment and assault. We also saw the backlash survivors faced after coming forward. I wanted these survivors to know that I believed them. I supported them, and that this happened to me too. This encouraged me to come forward with my own experience and reflect on the cult of toxic masculinity that exists in our society. As a child, I watched my father violently abuse my mother, using his power and authority to dominate her. All I could think of was how to protect her. How if I get strong, I can protect her from this living nightmare. As I grew up, This thought transformed the type of man I became. I swore I would never be like my father, and yet I believe to my core that as a man, I was more valuable in this world than women. As a protector and symbol of strength, I was more worthy, that women were beneath me. I used images of women's body and pornography at my disposal, validating my need for control. I often cut women short of sharing personal details of their lives so they would seem less human, less real. As a man, I was taught my entire life that I must control the world. So I used power, influence, and control to dominate every situation, from the football field to the film set, even in my own home with my wife and children. Then, in 2016, while at a party with my wife, I was sexually assaulted by a successful Hollywood agent. The assault lasted only minutes, but what he was effectively telling me while he held my genitals in his hand was that he held the power, that he was in control. This is how toxic masculinity permeates culture.
Interesting.
And he's one of the few men, I mean, the fact that he is such a powerful person and strong, and that I think it would help for other male sexual assault victims to go, look, even this guy couldn't stop what happened. So there's nothing you did wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very emotional. All right, deep breath. We'll take a break for a second, and we'll be right back. By the way, I was at Seattle Comic-con over the weekend, and practically every member of the Avengers cast was there. And I got some dynamite footage, so we'll show you some of that next.
Yay.
We're brought to you by Connect Heating and Air. Go to UtahHeatingandCooling.com for their $39 air conditioner tune-up special. Some care now could make the difference in hundreds of dollars of energy bills this summer. And by New Millennium Financial Group. Take your feeble financial health back to a more robust position with a consult with New Millennium Financial Group. They're offering a complimentary financial analysis to get you started at utahsfinancialplanner.com.
And we're back. It is the Todd and Erin Daily Stream. Todd's out sick, but fortunately Daisy, as always, is here to save me.
Yay.
Okay, this is humbling. They just came up with the list of the most dangerous countries in the world to be a woman, and that's based on everything from slave labor, sexual violence, all the different things that go into the danger of being female.
Okay.
And it's one of the reasons Todd and I we sponsor little girls in different countries. We have 2 in Afghanistan, and we have 2 in India. And we've always tried to pick places where, well, it's $20 a month. Mm-hmm. But we always tried to pick places where they're in higher risk of this kind of thing. So this probably doesn't surprise you. It's human trafficking, forced labor, forced marriage, sexual slavery. The most dangerous country in the world was India.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was trying to think, and I was like, probably India, I would say.
Now, here's where it gets humbling. Now, 9 of the 10 countries in the list were from Asia, the Middle East, or Africa. That's not surprising. At number 10, the only Western country to be included was the United States. Mm-hmm. We are in the top 10 nations for women at risk. Top 10. That's not humbling at all.
Yeah, that's bad.
Wow. So it's interesting just to know that no matter how much we go, wow, that is really sad about those third world countries.
Yeah.
No. We're like the world country, number 1 world, whatever. And and we're still in the top 10.
And so much of it is hidden as well here.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot to answer for. Okay, let's finish up with something fun, because this is cool. Now, I'll have a ton more video tomorrow. I was just trying to sort through it all. But ACE Comic.con is being held up in Seattle. And they started out with Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Tom Hiddleston, who, of course, the 3 biggest stars from the Avengers. So everyone immediately lost their minds, paid thousands of dollars for photo and autograph packages, made their airplane plans. They were like this.
Yeah.
Chris Evans had to drop out, I guess, for filming. And then Chris Hemsworth dropped out like 5 days beforehand, leaving dear Tom Hiddleston literally to like do all of their work.
Who is your favorite?
He's my internet boyfriend. But,
yeah.
They also pulled in Sebastian Stan at the last minute, who's the Winter Soldier, Tom Holland, Spiderman, Anthony Mackie, who is actually Falcon, the guy who flies, and he is ridiculously funny. They had several other stars like Paul Bettany.
I love him.
Vision.
He was in
Solo,
the Star Wars, the Han Solo story, and he was really good at that.
He talks constantly about his wife in the most sweet terms.
Yeah,
Jennifer
Connelly, right?
Yeah, who starred in not Legend. What was it? The one with David Bowie.
Yes.
But you know which one I mean.
She was also in Beautiful Mind, I think.
She's been in many, many things.
She's really good.
But he talked about her with such adoration. It was the sweetest thing. And then of Elizabeth Olsen, of course, who plays the Scarlet Witch. But they had a panel that started out with Sebastian Stan, who was talking, and the other two guys were behind on their autographs. Then Anthony Mackie shows up, very funny guy. And then, so they're talking, it's kind of great, you're learning. Then Tom Holland shows up. And it's like it was a One Direction concert, and the screaming began. So I'm hoping my audio is better than I think it is, but this is where Tom Holland's talking about the new Spider-Man movie, and he lets slip what it's called. So
fun.
I just got a note here that says on Facebook Live, everybody's talking about Tom's Instagram message today. What did you do? What was it?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't...
You're on Instagram? How old are you, 18?
I'm 17.
Oh, well that's why, okay, alright.
Yeah. No, I just got sent the new script for a film that I might do this summer. And I might have accidentally revealed the title of the movie.
What? Can you give it to us here?
Hang on, I forgot what it's called. Hang on. Let's have a look.
I forgot what my movie's called.
It's called Far From Home.
Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home.
There's going to be a scene where he's going to go, I want to go home. $100p.
I have said that in a movie, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you said that today. It was like, Tom, sign the autograph. I just want to go home.
I'm way excited for the second Spider-Man movie because I've heard, and I don't know, you can't confirm it and shit, but I've heard that it might be Mysterio as the villain. That's one of my favorite villains.
I was just saying, the one on the right is Anthony Mackie. I like him. I didn't realize who you were talking about, but
and then you go, oh, Falcon.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, they call him Baby Tom, and he's adorable, but that poor kid cannot get a word out without everyone just losing it. And so I've got great footage of the panel he did with Tom Hiddleston tomorrow. So it's Big Tom and Little Tom.
Yeah.
And they're adorable.
Aww.
But
who needs Chris Hemsworth anyway? I'm not a big Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans gal, I must say.
I like Chris Evans. Hemsworth I'm not as fond of now because he had said I have to drop out because of filming obligations. And you kind of get that, but these are people who've paid all this money and they have their plane ticket, and then 5 days before you take it off work, so here's the part that's painful, though. Literally that night, this was, I think, Saturday night, Tom is still signing autographs for 20 hours. His wife, Elsa, Chris Hemsworth's wife, Elsa, posts a picture of their entire family out there fishing on the Australian coast, and they're camping there with Matt Damon, the actor, and his family. So it's so obvious. I mean, that's a dick move. I'm sorry, right?
Yeah.
And people are, but he's with his family. I'm like, and you should be, but you promised all these people you
totally.
And everyone gets if there's like a work obligation because like he's shooting Men in Black with that adorable Tara Taylor. She was Valkyrie in Ragnarok.
Okay.
And they're shooting a remake of Men in Black, and everyone thought, they have shooting schedules. Sometimes that happens. Yeah. But you dropped out 5 days before to go fishing with your buddy Matt.
No, that's not cool.
Not cool. I'm
not
sorry.
Cool.
But anyway, so more really good gossip.
Obviously, Chris is watching this.
He's feeling the shame. Right
not
now.
Cool, Chris.
No,
stop it.
But really, really good video tomorrow, and it's really fun. So please stay with us tomorrow. You're going to like it. Yay. And thank you, Daisy, for saving my behind as usual. We'll see you tomorrow. Fun.